Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Console Pro League. We're going to be taking a look at North America today. Yesterday, I believe it was Barrage Esports coming out on top in the European qualifiers. Let's take a quick look back at last week's bracket that Eager came out on top of, taking out Everyday Carry 2-0.
Yeah, the biggest thing was that Eager was able to take out Juice early, and they took him out way beforehand. The quarter bracket took out Insult to Injury, and then Cognitive all the way to the finals. And it was like a pretty stacked bracket, so now they have first seed. Everything should be a little bit more cleaner. Old Elevate, aka Erde Carry, now they have a roster change.
Big one. Weekend actually getting benched off of the Envy we just saw. Ionic taking his place, and he'll be playing for Everyday Carry today, and let's take a look at that bracket. Eager, we're going to be watching them up next, take on Cognitive Gaming. The PC squad couldn't come up with the win, but maybe the Xbox and console squad can, and you can see Everyday Carry now with Weekend going to be taking on Most Wanted Esports.
Yeah, the biggest thing is can Cognitive come back from last week's kind of not upset, but they are world's contenders, right? In the at least Xbox side of things. So the fact that they're gonna consistently keep losing to Eager kind of sucks.
Let's get into pick some bands for game one, though. Team Eager taking on Cognitive Gaming. So Eager here, they're going to have first option. See if they want to go into the Nemesis as well.
The Nemesis.
I don't think they will. How's Nemesis on console?
It's okay. It's like I said, it's a tanky tank world, and this is a patch behind. But really, the biggest thing has been Chronos, as it's actually banned away here. Eager, so AirCougar has been the biggest fan of Chronos that I've seen,
Forever.
at least from past week. Yeah, well, like, he generally finds something that he likes, like a flavor of the month character, and then he just kind of picks it over and over again, and that's kind of been his thing. So, surprising to see them ban it out as the Khepri auto ban, as it should be, is banned away.
Yeah, we saw 100% win ratio on Khepri so far in Season 3. Giannis going to be banned away as well. Eager looking for the first pick. A couple options for them on what they want to go into. Kali obviously has been devastating in both scenes, but they're going to be looking for the first pick, Odin.
Dwurst. So when we talked about last week, Dwurst was kind of just Goomba stomping all over everybody with this Odin pick. So really, it's not so much the threat of the ring. Dwurst is able to take it into the soul lane, jump around, and his rotations have been insane because Odin's clear is just so good, opening up a lot of rotation ability.
Soul going to be locked in for Cognitive Game. This seems awkward to me. Not only the Soul, but the Isis pick into an Odin. Odin going to be able to completely negate the healing from Isis. Also, neither of these gods have escape mechanics. If this is going to be a solo lane Odin, if he rotates over, it's going to be real hard for Cog to get out.
Yeah, and really the biggest thing is they have to play it correctly. Soul, having her 3 able to go immune, she can go immune and actually go through the cage, so that's like a plus if she can get it off in time. Isis, if she does get caged in, she does have damage reduction with her ult, and if she waits it out, like if she times it properly, especially the more experienced Isis players will know this, time your ult properly, get the damage reduction, and then as soon as the Odin cage disappears, boom, blast yourself up to full health, so.
Looking like Eager actually wanting to go Odin jungle as they lock in Vamana and Geb. And I think I feel like this was more Eager trying to get Geb and Vamana, and knowing that if they lock in both of those, Odin completely counters it. So they're going to have the safety knowing that the Odin's going to be on their team.
Yeah, and really looks like the Vamana maybe value it a little bit more than the Bellona on the Xbox scene, which I can see that because Bellona can be a little bit harder compared to PC. Like every single thing you pick or you see here on the screen is completely different from the PC scene, usually because of the control scheme. Having a controller compared to a keyboard and mouse changes metas drastically. So the Vamana being valued here over Bellona, I can see that.
Zeus and Neith banned away by Cognitive Gaming. Eager taking out Hunbats. Could potentially look to ban out another jungler here, knowing that they have the Odin, and they're going to take away Kali, so they're putting Cog on their kind of back foot, but notable gods such as Thor still open. If Cog really want to go for that high-pressure Isis-Thor combo and allow their Bellona and Soul to kind of control their lanes and rotate into that mid-game powerhouse.
I love the Bacchus pickup here, being able to not only get out, but the extra damage from the Bacchus, the Intoxicate being 8 seconds long.
Really good against Geb, too.
Yeah, no, Bacchus is very underrated, especially against Geb, having that much extra damage to deal with the Geb shield, the knock up, which a lot of people don't harp on enough. Just a complete full knock-up is like the best CC in the game because as
It's
you're
the hardest.
knocked up,
It's the best CC in it is the best CC in the game. No one can match it.
because you cannot get out of it. You cannot beads out of it. You can't sanctuary unless you sanctuary beforehand. But still, like it is the guaranteed ultimate setup for all abilities in this game. And Bacchus has it not on an ult. It's a regular ability, so should be cool. As
Vulcan.
Yeah, I love it.
Ho Yi as well.
Vulcan. Vulcan, yeah.
The people's Vulcan. You gonna shout outs to him?
Yeah, no.
Is it the same ever since the Thumper went away?
Vulcan's been like here in like he's been going through rough season, I'd say. So far in season 3, it's okay. Maybe with this upcoming patch, it'll be
How do you
better.
feel? How do you feel Vulcan's gonna do on the new patch?
I think it'll be the same. Maybe a little bit easier in casuals and maybe like lower level ranked, but the same story in high level ranked. But with these ISIS nerfs keep coming, like Vulcan's looking juicy.
All right, we're going to be getting into Game 1, Team Eager versus Cognitive Gaming. Last pick was Thor. That's going to be on to Freya, who has switched to jungle for Season 3 of Console. Jellly here going to be throwing out just a quick offensive ward, wanting to get some vision, and he's going to, it looks like, cover both top side of the Harpies.
Yeah, I love the early vision coming out. Dwurst even warding over the blue. We have complete vision control, whether they're going to start mid Harpies or start their blue or go back Harpies to blue. So lots of options here, and I love what Eager does. So with these 3 wards, while it might be 50 gold each, it might delay like certain item builds, etc. This is just a full-on, like we know exactly what Cog's doing right from the get-go as soon as they start their buff. So
How important is that to know how your opponent started?
Well, I'm surprised, like, even, like, some SPL games, you just see people just don't ward. And it's really, like, with so much on the line, it's like, if you're trying to be the #1, you're trying to be the very best, it's like, you gotta practice some early game warding, you gotta see what your opponent's going for, because they could easily switch the strategy all up, and you wouldn't even know. Like, they could just both start mid-Harpies and then run into your jungle. What would stop them from doing that besides an early game ward?
Speaking early game, Myflin here, previously known as Mytheria, Elevate PC player last season, has switched over. He's going to be jungling for Team Eager here. And let's kind of just go through the rosters. It's Dwurst, Myflin, Delta Marine 72, Jellly, and AirCougar playing for Eager, Stormy, Freya, Keegs, DaChach, aka Elbro Chacho, and Paul for Cognitive Gaming. Pretty standard starts, and it looks like Isis and Vulcan just going to be doing battle early. But I do expect Cognitive Gaming to have the full pressure, especially considering Freya on that Thor does have Red Potion.
Yeah, lots of aggression coming out in the mid lane. Delta Marine cannot get the full clear, and this is really what you're going to see here as Isis Thor. One of the best 2v2 early games. Lots of push, lots of aggression. There's not going to be too much Delta Marine can do here as they lose mid Harpies.
Eager, instead of looking to get control of the mid wave, actually going to elect to go over to the right-hand side Harpies. Odin is going to be able to secure this, but they need to be careful rotating back into this mid lane. You can see Thor, Isis already have this wave pushed up, and Myflin needs to be careful. Actually, it's Delta Marine who needs to be careful. Takes a little bit of poke and a reset, but Cognitive Gaming full control on the early game.
Now, when we talk Vulcan, Vulcan's also extremely hard to pull off on Xbox because of the Y-axis on the controller. So, like, Delta Marine might have a couple of problems, especially going into mid-game hitting abilities. Luckily enough, Vulcan's cooldowns are very forgiving. But in this dual lane, AirCougar a little poked out. He's having a rough time.
You kind of expect to see this, though, with the Geb, right? I mean,
yeah.
Geb really struggles.
They don't really have too much push potential besides, obviously, the Shockwave Ricochet, but they're getting kind of manhandles. Paul and Chacho kind of they have the number for right now, at least.
And the mid lane continues to be pressured by Eager. If you're Cognitive Gaming, right, you know you have the control, right? Isis Thor. Unless you really mess up, nothing's going to go too wrong. Do you want to see Myflin really rotate and look for ganks after he hits level 5, or just continue the pressure and focus on invading more than trying to go for kills?
I think the person that you want to control the most was Dwurst. Dwurst was a big factor in last week's victory, or at least tournament victory. So I think if they can control Dwurst, help Stormy get a huge lead in the soul lane, I think everything else will be fine. I think Cog versus Paul, Cog Paul versus AirCougar can go either way.
You can see that Dwurst already putting the pressure onto Stormy, actually finding the umbrella ring over the corner, and Stormy forced to ult just to get away from Dwurst. That's
a little awkward.
That's a lot of presence, but you can see actually Myflin coming around the top, and Stormy doesn't know this. He doesn't have an ult. Myflin, no ultimate on his own. There's the jump, not enough damage though, and Stormy, he could actually turn this. Myflin on one hit. He's going to be running into the wave, just trying to delay for now, and he's going to die
It's
to
just-
creeps, actually. Oh, no, Stormy got a hit on him.
That was the most awkward thing I've seen yet on Xbox. So really, the biggest thing is Stormy. He awkwardly like ulted away and like barely got out, but like really the biggest thing was Dwurst didn't have enough damage. And then Myflin recognized, he's like, well, I could go for the kill here, but as he was walking into tower, the tower shots took away his Odin shield, so he didn't have that big burst, and then he just jumped in awkwardly and died. So really, it was just kind of like miscommunication,
Everything.
Yeah,
Everything went wrong.
everything-
It was
everything
awkward.
went wrong,
So,
yeah.
Sometimes you can't play perfect every time. Delta Marine getting pressured out by Isis in the mid lane. Left-hand side, though, a knock-up. There's an Intoxicate. And now Jellly in a little bit of trouble. Going to use Cataclysm, trying to get away. And the Soul Ultimate's going to rain through. Last tick, just shy of the damage. And AirCougar trying to turn it on Paul, but a good Sanctuary and a reset between both teams.
Yeah, I love the heads-up play by Paul, able to get the Sanctuary out and survive. And that could have easily turned. That would have been
Myflin
AirCougar's
actually,
favor.
left-hand side, going to try it again. Has his cage this time. Paul's going to be ringed in. And one more hit, and he will fall. Actually, no. Oh, okay. Trade out happened. Myflin more than likely dead, though. No jump, and it's going to be a traded kill. Is that worth it?
I mean, like, so AirCougar's backing anyway. He's not going to get any of this farm. I don't know. I don't think it's worth, especially that's his second death. It's delaying his farm overall. We do see he's starting to fall a little bit behind. And Odin falling behind is like probably the worst thing in the world. So he's going, I feel like Myflin's not playing as calculated as he usually would be. He's kind of going for these over-aggressive like chase down kills, which really... that's not
Disrespecting
needed.
him, maybe?
I don't know if I would even call it that. Just it feels like maybe you put the the gas pedals on, like just trying to go for these kills when it's like your Odin fam. Like you don't need to do that. You just cage in and set up.
Set up for your team, right?
Yeah,
Stop
exactly.
trying to make the highlight reels. Dwurst, though, going to be controlling right-hand side. Myflin, actually, it's going for the highlight plays. Still, not enough damage to kill Freya there, but the three-man grouping up from both teams, as we always see here coming in about 5 minutes. And Myflin, you have to give him credit. He's not scared, right? He didn't die and then just
Most
completely
people
give
would-
up. He's still looking to be aggressive. He still understands
And
the
I
strength of
dig
his
that
god.
too, because most people after 2 deaths, 5 minutes in the game, especially on Xbox, it's like a big deal. Like most people would naturally just automatically go into turtle mode and be like, I need to farm. I need to just lane. Like, don't touch me. Like, get away from me. But Myflin still showing that aggressive nature, and that's key, especially in a jungler, being able to show and pressure each lane despite falling behind.
Do you think that he's going to be going for an earlier defensive build, maybe a first item Urchin? I know a lot of Odins really like to
I think
build
going-
into CDR early, but going into Urchin, not something we see too often.
I love the Urchin, but it really depends on what Myflin's going for. He wants CDR just to keep the cage going. I personally think he's just going to need something to survive. The Ice Assault might be a little bit too much going into the mid game in terms of like damage. Thor being more than enough damage to kill him without any sort of a tanky build. So an Urchin, I think, is fair.
Still no ganks from Freya as we talk about Thor. He's got his boots online, so going to be pretty effective for the next couple minutes. But look at it. Look at this. It looks like a setup. And, oh, Chacho's going to find out Jellly. There's the knock-up. There's the Spirit Ball. Intoxicate. Ice Assault going to be enough to secure Delta Marine and Jellly. He's trying to run for now, but the rotation comes from Myflin. Freya takes to this guy. He's looking for Jellly. Right now, CC immune. Actually going to miss the ultimate. A good juke from Jellly. He'll walk out, but they were able to secure 1 kill.
It's okay. It's Xbox. That's what I always say, at least. But really, the biggest thing there is Chacho and friends caught Eager completely out there. No wards, no vision. Now they set themselves up for a goal here as Cougar takes a little bit too much damage.
He's going to be forced to Purification and dash away. Freya not wanting to give up on it. Actually, he's really chasing him. And honestly, the Soul Laner's here too. AirCougar nowhere to go. Double tap secures that one. Myflin going to ring in 3. And actually a big Vulcan ultimate not going to connect anyone. Freya does fall to the Suns. And now Cognitive, it looks like they went a little bit too deep. And they'll be backing off into their own jungle for now.
It was a
Jellly,
nice
Delta
1-for-1, but the biggest thing was that they blew 3 ults there on Freya, who had no escape anyway. Maybe it was needed, I don't know. But the biggest thing is now Eager caused Cognitive to kind of reset and no goal for your attempts anymore as both teams go back to neutral.
With that kill, though, Stormy still in the lead from his first blood. Knock-up onto Keegs, low mana. Delta Marine and Jellly just going to make sure that Cog can't sneak the Gold Fury, it looks like. Going to control the Sentry Ward for now. Grab the mid-camps. Pretty pretty close game. 1,000 gold separate the teams, but with this Isis Thor, do you feel like Cognitive needs to be looking for some more plays, or can they carry this team comp into late game?
I think abuse that 3v3. They have probably the deadliest 3v3 I've seen. The Bacchus damage, the Bacchus Intoxicate, the initiation from Thor, the poke damage from Isis. Like, they have everything. And I think they need to keep doing more loop-de-loops, look around, catch Odin, poke him out, poke out Vulcan, force them back and go for a goal fury.
Speaking of loop-de-loops, Myflin gonna find two. Jellly on the outside. There's the All-Isis Assault to immune some of that damage. Actually, Delta Marine gets double-tapped and takes a knock-up as well. Thor takes to the sky, and honestly, all three players are a little bit grouped, and it's just a matter of time. Crashing down Berserker's Barrage. Freya's gonna find one. Nice Cataclysm. And now Freya, he's got to get out of here. Sanctuary and the knock-up, not enough damage. But with the rotation from the solo laners, Jelly's gonna fall as well.
Yeah, the Suns are out. We have AirCougar trying to clean up. We have Keegs barely surviving. He's actually able to walk out there. AirCougar jumps the opposite way. Dwurst is forced to retreat, blow his ult, and yeah, that was insane as Cognitive get away barely from that engagement.
3 players on Red Life. None of them are able to die. Speaking of able to die, AirCougar jousting out Soul there. Both are going to elect to back off, but there's the Heavenly. AirCougar, I don't think that would have been enough damage, but it would have been close.
DaChach, I think he just saw red there, like, ah! And it clearly was not enough damage. There was no follow-up to be had there, but luckily, no deaths, just a sprint wasted as,
that was close.
Oh man, lazy backs all rust. Luckily, gets away with it.
Oh, look at this though. They saw Chacho back. There's the teleport in from Dwurst. Now Eager, they're going to try and sneak this Gold Fury. But Keegs is going to recognize it. All 5 members of Eager are grouped up. Gold Fury low, but Myflin's pulling it towards the other team. It does go the way of Eager, and now Myflin with his cage just trying to zone the rest of Cognitive Gaming, and that's going to be an uncontested Gold Fury. Big pickup for Eager.
Yeah, that could have went really any way.
Delta Marine,
Keegs was a little bit off. Delta Marine does take some damage. The beads are good. He's actually peeling for himself quite nicely. Keegs too far forward. Pops his ult. Might not be able to live.
Oh, he does actually get a return kill. Jellly, he's going to be low as well, and Paul finds him. And what looked like a free Gold Fury with a good amount of zoning from Myflin turns to 2 deaths as Cognitive find a couple picked out. And Myflin going to jump again, but 4 members are there. There's the Sun. Keegs gets picked up by AirCougar. Myflin does get dove under tower. And now AirCougar, he's going to be CC immune with that purification, but there's 4 around him. I don't think there's going to be enough damage from Stormy. Good juke by AirCougar, but tier 1 should fall. Unless AirCougar actually going to be able to scare him off.
Yeah, really the creeps ran out there. So Cognitive forced to kind of back up here. And the big thing is that they're getting so many good picks. And Keegs, I mean, that was his first death. That's like the 5th time we saw in a team fight Keegs barely get out.
Just like 1 health.
Yeah, 1 HP, literally, baby rage. So it was just like crazy that he finally just died to AirCougar, and that was kind of like the stop of the Cog train, as, yeah, they can't push down to tier 1 anymore. But really, the biggest thing was the heads-up play, the teleport from Dwurst, able to rotate over to Gold Fury. And even though Eager made a huge gamble, that's exactly what they needed to get themselves a little bit back into this game, as they're not that far behind anymore.
About 1,000, so nothing too... Yeah, you could see them kind of neutraled out the game, and then a couple kills and a lot of free farm for Cognitive Gaming kind of brought that lead back into their favor. But it's only 1,000, right? 11 minutes in, this isn't anything significant.
Especially on Xbox. Everyone knows Xbox games, that's like, we're going late game. So
yesterday there was a throw, like 8 throws back and forth between the 2 teams trying to tie Titans and Phoenixes. It was
beautiful.
It was
as far as that's a work of art in my opinion.
3-man group up here from Eager in the mid lane, and power spike's about to happen for a lot of Cognitive Gaming. You can see 4 players on level 11. And that's something that, you know, teams need to take note of in Season 3 is the fact that Relic's at level 12, you get your second one. And honestly, if Cognitive Gaming can find a level on each of those players, I mean, that's really what they should be looking to do, is farm up and then force these fights when they have 10 Relics and the opponents only have 5.
Yeah, if you can get a good back timing for level 12, come back and force the enemy team to back, at least for their Relics, you can get some good objective advantage, whether it be towers or jungle buffs or just Gold Fury, but Gold Fury's down. So, slight aggression coming out. Myflin forced to kind of back up. And really this 3v3 of Delta Marine, Jellly, and Myflin, it's not working out for the Eager squad.
You can see Chacho just going to counter ward right in Myflin's face. He's going to be forced to shield as Dwurst, as Freya chases him away. He needs to stop. He needs to change his name. Come on, Freya. Come on, man. What if... I mean, or at least play Freya every game.
Maybe he was Freya before Freya was even released. But that was a while ago.
I mean, that's part of mythology. She's been around forever. Stun onto Delta Marine. He's forced Purification. Jellly going to use Cataclysm. Chacho, he wants to dive, though. Tanking Tower, pop Sprint as Jellly chases him away. Dwurst looked like he wanted to rotate over, but he's just going to be backing. And, I mean, Cognitive Gaming, they're not scared to continuously force things. You just see this poke all game.
Yeah, and that's really the power of Isis, Thor, Bacchus. And this is why a lot of people sleep on this Bacchus pick. It does so much disruption, so much damage. So we have an Odin cage going on. Myflin looking to make something happen. The Huyi Suns are out. We have Chacho jumping in. He actually picks up Myflin, but he's stuck. Oh, never mind. The Ice is all barely able to keep him alive, and he does fall to Delta Marine.
And you can see Dwurst and Big Baby. He's going to be chasing this team. The rotations come from Paul. AirCougar off the mark. And it looks like it's just going to be a 2-for-1, but Meditation popped from Eager, and they're going to be able to siege this. You can see there goes the Stellar Burst from Paul, trying to keep them at bay, but it's not going to be enough. Stormy, Ultimate is available, but it looks like Cognitive Gaming, they're just going to concede the 500 gold.
This is what I love about Dwurst. He wherever he shows up, something happens for Eager. He's really the driving
This seems like
force.
a new Dwurst. Last season, he was kind of just okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, Dwurst was like, you know, he was talking material, right? Like, we could definitely, you know, make a story about Dwurst and be like, all right, you know, he's doing what he needs to do for Eager. And last year it was all about the Cougar train, right? Yeah, the AirCougar. He was kind of making everything happen for Eager. He was like, you know, all hail best ADC, came from the PC scene as a god, like, etc., right? But now I feel like as, you know, time has progressed, people have gotten better on the Xbox scene. Dwurst has really made a name for himself as one of these great soul laners, and it's showing this game. Everywhere he's rotated, I mean, the Goldfear teleport, right? You know, Eager gets Goldfear. That rotation mid lane, they win the team fight, meditate, and they siege to tier 1. Like, he's making good commanding plays here.
And honestly, it was Stormy who had a 500 gold lead on him early after Myflin kind of suicided for that first blood, and it was a solo first blood for Stormy. And since then, I mean, a 700 gold lead off of really one gold tier. He's really recouped about 1,000 gold on his own in this direct matchup. He's got Breastplate finished. He's working on Bulwark. On the other side, though, Stormy is looking to finish off his Urchin. And do you ever, I have a question, right? When you're playing games, do you ever decide to go Urchin or not depending on how active the game is? Because sometimes you see it's
absolutely
very minimal kills for 20 minutes, right? Maybe 2 or 3. And then there's other games where it's just 20 minutes in, there's 20 kills on the board. It's a bloodbath.
Yeah, absolutely. I've definitely done that, especially on Xbox. Of like, hide the Urchin Hades, fam. Like, if there's nothing happening, but there is actually something happening. Gold Fury, slight contest, poke out on Stormy.
Myflin, he's really deep, and actually, Thor's going to be looking to the sky. Is he going to land on anyone? Jellly a little bit caught out. He's isolated from his team, and that's just who Cognitive Gaming are looking for. Myflin going to zone out a couple on the side, but a knock-up. Jellly does get his Cataclysm off, and Dwurst comes around from the back to pick up Freya. Jellly rolls out, knocks Soul into an awkward spot, forced the ultimate, but it's not going to find anyone, and Myflin continues to be this frontliner that Cognitive Gaming can't seem to deal with.
Yeah, the sprint is out. It looks like the target is set onto Stormy and Chacho. Meanwhile, Paul trying to slide from Dwurst. He's getting slapped down. Great use of abilities, patience, and Dwurst picks up Paul. Meanwhile, Jellly so low. We have Delta Marine so low. Stormy's going for it, but Delta Marine is able to pick up that kill. And meanwhile, Chacho.
One more hit. Does he get his jump
slap
in time?
down?
No. Dia's side coming out for Eager. They only lose, actually they don't lose anyone in the process, and once again you can see 3 members on red. I mean, Eager doing so well to peel for their own team.
Yeah, the combination of Geb Shield on top of just great rotations from Eager. Really, their movement just looks so much more fluid compared to Cognitive's. Their ability to kind of group up, their ability to assess the situation as a team, and they fall into line. You know, Dwurst zone out the back line. Yo, Jellly, we need peel over here. Our, you know, Vulcan's taking too much damage. Let's get initiation over here. And it looks like Eager seems more complete than Cognitive. While Cognitive, I mean, they had such a great early game lead, they couldn't really make anything happen from it.
They had that deadly core you were talking about. The Thor, Isis, Bacchus, so good in that 3v3, but not really able to convert it into a big enough lead. And Dwurst, 4 levels on Stormy right now, just kind of destroying the back line. We saw him solo kill Paul, then solo kill Chacho, And right now, honestly, Eager 10 to 10 in kills, but I mean they have full control of the game with that deicide, and now
That was a huge swing.
now it's going to be really hard for Cognitive to get back into this one.
If I was Cognitive right now, you really want to abuse the fact you want to get sold to like at least some sort of a late game. You want to get a great initiation from Chacho and organize picks a little bit better. I think if they go with picks, everything will be pretty fine if Cognitive can get a major pick on a squishy like Delta Marine.
I really like what Myflin has been doing, right? We talked about it earlier. The first couple minutes, it seemed he was just diving needlessly, being way too aggressive by himself. But since then, he's kind of continued that trend. But Cog don't really want to try and burst him. You actually saw him in the past couple fights just cage out 2 squishies, and he's at the bottom, near the bottom of the damage charts. I think he's at 3,000, but caught alone once again. And Cognitive are committing a lot to this, but the rotation's coming. There's going to be a Gej shield and 3 players caught inside there. Here comes the ultimate, and Delta Marine takes out Paul.
That was beautiful bait there. Delta Marine able to just kind of set up off the Odin cage. Even like Thor was caught completely. I mean, really, when you chase down an Odin and use your escapes just to try to get out as Chacho.
He's as good as dead. Knock up again, Dwurst. The Umbrella's going to finish that one off, and Meditation going to keep Eager healthy. Cognitive Gaming can't fight this tier 1 on left. AirCougar's going to be chipping away at that one.
And it should be a free tier 1, but as I was saying, the biggest thing is you can't really get baited by Odin, especially if you're a 10-year team like Cognitive. They were chasing down the Odin jungle as if he wouldn't cage them, so they got turned on and blown up.
And I mean, Jellly with these shields, so good. Just it's Cog's just getting baited, like you said, just non-stop. They're going on these targets that they see in front of them. Then goes the Geb shield, and then a Raven shield, and Myflin jumps out, and now a 6,000 gold lead as Team Eager, 1 deicide, 1 gold tier. It has swung this game from down 1,000 to up 6,000 in a matter of 4 or 5 minutes.
And that's the biggest thing. I feel like Cognitive are going in the wrong targets, get Odin cage completely caught out, and they just auto die, especially being this far behind. Isis ult is not going to be enough to stop the Odin cage. And really, I hate to say it, but the Odin pick has been working out wonderfully in terms of baiting out abilities, baiting out Cognitive, and putting them on panic mode.
Odin, 4 deaths, but 9 assists and a single kill. He's been a part of almost every single engagement Team Eager has had, outside of I think a solo kill on the dual lane side, and he's got his Bulwark of Hope finished, starting to work into what seems like an Urchin, although it could be a Spirit's Robe as well.
Spirit Robe would be very nice, especially with the amount of CC.
Would you rather see the Urchin or the Spirit's Robe?
I love Spirit Robe. At this point, also Mantle of Discord is definitely not out of the realm of possibility.
God, that tree is so good now.
Hey, I think it's one of the best trees.
You could just buy the entire cloak tree, and no one would be mad at you if you're a support or frontline.
Maybe like go over CDR cap or something, but yeah, it would be just straight like beautiful, all cloaks, like you'd have everything.
Myflin caught out here on the side. He's going to run away. Rotation comes in from Dwurst to deal with Stormy. Dwurst, the first level 20 on the board. No one even close to him outside of AirCougar on his own team. The other team, everyone is 4 to 7 levels behind right now. And Eager just kind of taking control of the map. No Gold Fury for another minute, but Fire Giant could be something they want to look to. When do you want to go for Fire Giant? Like, what's the telltale sign outside of getting a deicide that you want to try forcing it and baiting it?
It's usually off the back end of your AD carry. Generally, the AD carry will make the call, or your jungle will make the call. It depends on who has the most DPS on the team and who's ready with the map control. As we do have the fight for map control. Chacho jumps in, the stun is out, the Hui Suns are in the cage.
Stormy just trying to ult out. Chacho, his jump is down. He's caught between 3, but Shell going to keep him alive for now. It doesn't look like Cognitive Gaming can get here in time. They don't know if they want to fight this or not. There's the Ice Assault, and Chacho staying alive for now. There comes Freya, but here comes the Earthshaker. Not going to connect onto anyone. Dwurst finds Chacho, and now Stormy in the middle of 4, but he's not going to be able to kill anyone. Soul Ultimate rains through, hits a lot. Paul able to take out Delta Marine, a 2 for 2 so far. Somehow, Cognitive Gaming off of Chacho's bait, able to turn this to a pretty even trade.
And this is what they need, but Freya needs to be careful. He's kind of jumping in. Dwurst is going to slap him down. The pop-up's good. He's able to connect. Oh, barely escapes with a Thor hammer. And Dwurst is now in a weird position. But Paul, he's actually getting turned on. Completely out of position, and Paul goes down. And what looked like a huge advantage for Cognitive with sloppy positioning and maybe a little bit of miscommunication.
I mean, so much burnt onto that Bacchus player. And it looked like Cog didn't know if they wanted to re-engage. The call was, do we want to help him or do we want to leave him? Finally, they pull the trigger, find 2. but it's kind of like the fight after the fight that
Yeah, the fight
Hog
after the
just-
fight really kind of sealed the deal. I think if Cognitive regrouped and, kept their composure and looked for a target based off of Thor wall, it would have been great. Like, for example, if they just stunned out, they want to make sure to poke out the Soul in, which is huge, force him to back up, and go from there. But really in that 3v3 engagement, Freya was way too low. Walked in, he actually just, hey, Dwurst, let me give you a hug. Took way too much damage, got popped up, almost comboed to death, forced to dash away, and Paul was pushed up in no man's land, and he just ended up dying.
a little bit of positioning errors coming out from Cog, it seems. Look at this, though. Myflin, once again, continuing to be the aggressor. He's going to find Chacho and Freya in the jungle.
For how much aggression we're seeing, I'm very surprised we're seeing him at the bottom of the charts. Really, that's the life of
He's
Odin,
an ult
right?
bot. He's like, I'm ulting Isis, she's going to use her ult, and I'm going to live. And that's kind of been the telltale sign. And it is the Spirit's Robe that Myflin elected to go into. Gold Fury secured in the meantime off of the Odin
Damage
frontline
mitigation is
distraction.
such an underrated stat as you mentioned, Eager do confirm the Gold Fury. For
It's
pretty much
15,
free.
right? I'm trying to remember.
I think it's 15.
It used to be 10. Pretty sure it's 15 now.
I mean, it's just a great
It's so good.
item. It's one of my favorite items to go to. You see a lot of junglers go into this after their Yoans, really just for kind of poke comps like this. Like, look at how much CC Jellly just took there. Add a Spirit Robe on top of that, you barely feel anything.
Right-hand side, Dwurst going to be trying to pick off Stormy here. At the very least, put a lot of poke on him. Bludgeon going to get interrupted. Myflin still has his cage. They could look to force out Eagle's rally, but elect not to. And Eager, they're grouped up, 5 members trying to siege this tier 2. Spirit Ball going to find 2. And now Dwurst actually taking a lot of poke. He does have Meditation and ult. Freya actually comes down. Cataclysm finds 3. There's the Earthshaker on top of the Isis ult. 3 players get hit. No one's dead yet. Stormy to the backline. Big bludgeon. Not going to be able to connect Stormy. He's just fighting 4 in the backline. He does not care. He does finally get picked up by AirCougar, but Cognitive Gaming, it looks like they want to fight with the Meditation pop, though. Dwurst going to siege forward. Chacho trying to knock him up. And Cognitive Gaming, they're going to back off, but a 1-for-0 trade.
Yeah, Jellly actually able to chase down Chacho in the tier 2. Almost gets it. Dwurst looking for the poke, barely misses. And Delta Marine actually gets picked off the backside of Paul. But Paul, he's actually getting aggressed on.
Cougar.
Nice Sanctuary. He's immune to all sorts of damage. And AirCougar cannot quite get the kill. But Eager looking to maybe get the Phoenix here, or at least
There's no way.
Yeah, they're going to get map control of the Fire Giant, which I dig maybe even the tier 2 mid. Depends on what the call is. But the biggest thing there was, so Stormy jumps in at like 2 HP and just brawls.
He
Like,
He lived way longer than I was like, he's dead. Oh, wait, he's not dead. He's not dead.
yeah, I mean, that was like, I understand the call to go there, but I think it's also important to recognize the situation, recognize the health, and how much value you're actually going to bring with ulting in and just brawling like that. I would have more liked to see, we do see the teleport online for Stormy. I would have loved to see, like, Stormy ult in and then just immediately, like, the 360 turn around, run away. Oh, the 180. Run back home, right, and then teleport back in. Yeah, not 360. Just go straight, like no. but really, Stormy didn't utilize his teleport. He's tanky enough, so he's able to survive even with like 2 HP. But imagine if he teleported in and then re-engaged the fight. That would have been way cooler than his noble sacrifice.
With that tier 2, though, Team Eager find themselves about 9,000 gold in the lead. Dwurst still the only level 20 on the board. 26 minutes into this one. No Gold Fury for a few minutes. Fire Giant likely to be the next point of contention. As you can see, AirCougar and Jellly sitting there. And Cognitive Gaming, the lead hasn't been extended too much in the past 5 minutes. It's been an extra 1,000 gold or so. But, I mean, if they can hold this out for another 5 to 10, I mean, Eager, they're going to be full build, and then it's going to be Cognitive Gaming kind of closing the gap at that point.
Eager's team comp is just so nasty to deal with by mid to late game, and really, I feel bad for Freya. And this is why. Because, especially with Thor having channeled abilities like Berserker's Barrage and the Thor Hammer, you want to make sure you teleport correctly and get the Thor Wall and the poke out. Very hard to do against this comp, as we've seen time and time again, Jellly able to get 3 to 4 man Cataclysms on reaction to the team fight starting. And that sort of level of peel is just valuable. It's all the time just valuable, and Jellly able to completely shut down Freya from getting any Thor shenanigans in.
Eager grouped up for now in the mid. Jump in by Chacho. It looks like the team was trying to pick off AirCougar, but Myflin, he's going to find a big cage onto 4. Cataclysm hits 3 as well, and Dwurst in big baby form just ripping through this team fight. Isis all dropped, and Cognitive Gaming, they're going to try and heal up, but Delta Marines just sieging in the back line. Jump in from Myflin. There's the Soul doing a lot of work, but it's just Cognitive Gaming can't seem to confirm the kills. Delta Marine finds Freya. Myflin continues to be an annoyance. Keegs trying to find Dwurst. Actually is able to pick him up. But, I mean, they've lost 3 already.
Yeah, and the biggest thing there was DaChach immediately jumped in, got a weak initiation, and, you know, obviously Eager saw that. They were not very intimidated and decided, hey, we're just going to dive you. There's your initiation, and the dive is on. I mean, Tier 2 is down. Looks, the cage is back up because
5 seconds.
5 second cooldown.
5 seconds.
So it is back up and caught. Woo, Paul.
They're actually holding.
Cougar. Yeah, and this is the power of Soul. Delta picks up Stormy there, but for example, if Eager were to throw themselves into this Phoenix now, Paul would easily get a triple kill. So the backup is warranted. But really, the biggest thing is Paul needs to kind of pop off, kill everyone on Eager. And if Cognitive are going to win these fights, they need to get better initiations. That initiation on Cougar was very weak to start off the fight. And really, like, you know, Eager's like, you call that initiation? And they just blow 8 ults on
I mean, you could see the ideal from Cognitive was Cougar's pushed up. Let's see if we can one-shot him, but the coordination wasn't there, and like I said, wasn't
It seems to be
the
theme.
full commit.
Yeah, and I would love to see more poke outs, more hammer throws out of Freya, because I feel like
Isn't that risky though? If you hammer throw, you have to assume Myflin's going to immediately just jump on you and cage you.
Yeah, but that's also been a big thing. We haven't seen too much pressure on these frontliners. Myflin able to just kind of walk in freely, and it seems like they're, in terms of the poke war, Eager's just getting the upper hand. But I feel like Cognitive have the tools and the CC to at least damage these soul laners. But it's tough. They picked a high execution comp, lots of CC, and they didn't get the lead that they wanted going out of the early game. In fact, they fell severely behind. So Eager going to actually drop the gold fear. They're not going to go.
A little bit worried. No Fire Giant for them. They are 10,000 gold ahead. You can see most of the players finishing off their build, but as Eager on the left side kind of baits Cognitive to defend the Gold Fury, the rest of the team is doing Fire Giant.
Yeah, it seems like
Cog has no idea. They're so concerned about the Gold Fury right now.
And I think they have their priorities.
Eager needs to drop this though, don't they?
I mean, they just get a free Fire Giant. They just notice it now. Cognitive, it's going through the head. No way. And then they back up C. Stormy's like, yo, I'm out. And then immediately, what seemed like a 3v5 disadvantage, as the boys rotate in, Eager going to look to aggress on this.
Chacho jumps in, but he's going to miss. And now Myflin once again dealing with the back line. Paul, he's low. AirCougar low as well. Blown up. Freya kills him. Earthshaker comes through, doesn't connect once again. Sanctuary on Keegs, going to keep him alive. He's in the Odin cage. Now Freya takes to the sky. So far, just a 1-for-0 in favor of Cognitive Gaming. Freya going to come crashing. Delta Marine does get the Geb shields. There's the jump, and no more Keegs. Odin doing a little bit too much damage. These fights are so extended, but the Fire Giant region is in favor of Cognitive Gaming. Myflin finds himself a double. Delta Marine gets a kill of his own. Now Eager 4 members strong, but no wave to push a Phoenix just yet.
Yeah, I mean, if they can maybe get the creep step, but never mind. Dwurst is actually just going to tank this. Paul is there for the defense. Myflin's cage should be on
5 seconds.
Off. Yeah, I mean, it's a 5-second cooldown. Basically, Chacho does jump in. I don't know. Whoa, the Soul Reaver, more than good enough. Now, Chacho's in such a tight position, and he's just going to sacrifice himself to the gods themselves. And really, yeah, it doesn't seem like, as you mentioned, like no creeps, but Eager's just going to tank each tower with their front line.
It is Geb, Odin, Vamana.
Oh, yeah.
This
is
they don't have to worry too much. Dwurst, no meditation online right now. His ultimate is, though, you can see he's half-life, and 2 Phoenixes down. Eager, they're looking at the left-hand one. 2 players spawning for Cognitive Gaming. Stormy is up. Freya just spawned as well, but Chacho dying, defending the mid-Phoenix. Not going to be up for a couple more seconds. And it looks like Cognitive Gaming don't want to allow Eager to back for free.
Yeah, so the biggest thing about that last team fight was the fact that Cougar automatically, he got blown up. Yeah, I mean, this is really the kind of the Freya turned up for one team fight. He got the pick that he wanted, and then after that, they couldn't get anything going. But speaking of picks, Delta Marine is taken out of existence.
And that's the two hardest carries for Eager are now dead with no Fire Giant. Although arguably, you could say Dwurst is a pretty hard carry. You can see he is second on the damage charts for Eager. Cougar kind of in that same regard. And Gold Fury now, it's going to be surrounded by Cognitive Gaming. Myflin doesn't want to get up for free, and Cognitive Gaming don't know who they want to focus, but they're allowing Dwurst to come in here, and now it's a 5v2. Dwurst, he's inside, actually outside of the cage. Freya is going to be able to block off Dwurst successfully. There goes the Isis ultimate trying to kill Dwurst, but he's going to be able to reset. Jellly's here now. Freya going to be off the mark on his ult. Myflin jumps out. Big Cataclysm coming out from Jellly, finds 3, and these fights, they're so extended, but Fire Giant buff on 3 tanky targets. This fight's all in favor of Eager.
Stormy with the brawl, getting picked up by Myflin, and now Eager set themselves up nicely as Dwurst chases out the rest of the Cognitive Gaming members so they can confirm the goal here. And really, yeah, like, it seems to be it was a 4v5, right? And even then, Cognitive could not deal with the massive front line of Eager.
It's just so hard, especially with Fire Giant.
Geb Shield, you have Odin being so tanky, caging every 5 seconds. You have Dwurst running up and doing Vamana things. Like
meditation
it's
as well.
Yeah, the meditation
it's so hard for Cog to kind of secure these kills, especially Isis Thor, who really fall off. I mean, unless Isis finds a max range Spirit Ball.
Oh yeah, he needs it on the perfect targets too, but it's just not there. And Cognitive Gaming are not picking the correct targets they need to pick. Really, Freya hasn't gotten anything going in a while, and they're struggling. And now, the final Phoenix, Cognitive, can they hold?
Intoxicate onto 4, Phoenix. Couple more shots. Looks like Shell was popped for Eager, fearing the initiation, but all 3 are down now. Fire minions in the middle lane. And now Eager, I mean, they could look to try and wait for the next Fire Giant, but they're all full build. If they wait any longer, that's kind of just going to be in favor for Cognitive Gaming, isn't it? You know, Cognitive Gaming, now they can only close the gap on items.
Yeah, really, what Cognitive need to do, with all 3 Phoenixes down, just defend, push out all the lanes, try to get the Phoenixes up. I would say let the Fire Giant go, especially you don't want to take a fight or an extended fight because, as you mentioned before, these fights are taking so long. So the longer they take, especially when you're not defending your base, your Titan's just going to drop to the Fire Minion. So I'm going to push all the lanes, wait for them to get Fire Giant, and then defend with all your might in a final, last stands, really.
Cougar and Delta Marine, the 2 squishy targets, actually trying to zone out Cognitive Gaming. There goes an initiation. AirCougar is going to be able to jump away, but look at this. Dwurst just doing work onto Keegs. Keegs just half life off of 1 combo from Vamana.
Yeah, the aggression is on Stormy, taking a little bit of poke. Meanwhile, Paul completely out of position.
Oh, he's going to get
He's all by himself. He has no peel. The cage is good. He has no invincibility. The great Sanctuary, though, able to avoid the stun. But Myflin credit with the kill, able to ground pound stomp Paul out of his existence.
And you could see this, I mean, Cognitive Gaming on full retreat. Their mid Phoenix just spawned, and it's already dead to the fire creeps who are raining into the Titan. And it's going to be the same story as last time, Eager. It's going to be 2 players securing the Fire Giant on their own, the rest dealing with the rest of the team.
And I love how Eager recognizes they don't need the full squad to actually do Fire Giant. And look at this, just the complete zone out squad. They get the Phoenix on respawn. Like, just Eager making sure there's no chance of Cognitive coming back to this, but they're there to fight yet again. Looks like Cognitive are aggressing. Dwurst taking a little bit too much damage. He's actually charging in despite the great ult from the Vulcan. Cataclysm's good. Chacho is the main focus here, and it looks like they can't connect, but that was a 3v5.
This is it. It's over for Cognitive Gaming. They've got 3 waves of fire minions. They're down their highest damage in the game. A jump in from Myflin. There's going to be to the cage and Eager. They're going to defeat Cognitive Gaming for the 2nd week in a row to advance to the finals of the Smite Console League qualifiers. A good showing from all of them.
Yeah, and really Cognitive, they just can't quite get Eager's number in these team fights. They had a great early game lead. I felt like they played their early game comp okay. Could have been played way better, but Xbox, you know. So really the biggest thing is how can they switch it up going next week, as they are completely knocked out now, going next week to fight Eager.
Let's take a quick look at First Blood, see how that one went down. And I believe it was it the solo lane? It was Myflin dying. This is
gonna be great.
This was a little bit awkward start to the game. Stormy and Dwurst going at it, both very low, and Myflin making the decision to try and dive Stormy, but I think he took a couple shots and lost his shield, was it?
Dwurst was getting the upper hand here in this 1v1. Dwurst kind of closing in, the ult over, awkwardly barely kind of escapes, but Dwurst didn't have enough damage. Stormy's backing, kind of a lazy back, didn't recognize that Myflin was coming. He recognizes it, walks away, and then Myflin takes too much damage. His shield doesn't do enough damage there because he ran out to the tower, and then he just...
No, it didn't even run out to the tower. It just ended early, and then he still jumped in.
Yeah, he just... Myflin completely...
I didn't even think Stormy actually got a hit on him at first, but managing to pick up that first blood. But Dwurst, honestly, just full control of that lane, even after that 500 gold lead from Stormy.
And that was really just Dwurst having the more experience. Stormy, when we were talking about Stormy, that's Words' weapon, who was the PC ranked all-star, right? So transition to Xbox, you could tell there's still, learning pains.
Let's take a look at Dwurst and see how he did. Player of the game for this matchup, phenomenal. Just one of the best soul laners, honestly, on console right now.
At least in terms of consistency and presence, Dwurst has it all as he runs around and slaps down everyone on the battlefield of the gods.
The battlefield of the gods.
The battlefield of the gods.
Nice tagline.
Yeah.
Sell out allied. And I mean, I'm pretty sure we see this multiple times where Dwurst just goes on the back line and kills Paul. And Paul, honestly, I believe highest damage in the game at the end. Definitely broke 30k there. Couldn't really seem to secure the kill was the problem.
I don't think that was anything to do with Paul. The team fights was sloppy. The early game really kind of fell out of control after that deicide, as we mentioned. That was kind of if I had to put a game-ending moment, that deicide at Gold Fury was key for Eager to
also,
just win the game.
The Snuck Fire Giant.
Yeah, which was
that was
some shenanigans.
What was it?
Tom Clancy.
It was some Tom Clancy.
I mean that was complete stealth mode. The 3v5 zone out, and it worked too.
And Cog seemed scared, right? If Cog had just once that Fire Giant ring was on them, I feel like Cog should have just
you saw Stormy,
instantly.
right? He jumped over to Rep. He's like, I'm out. Just get me out of here. So really, Cognitive, it completely just caught off guard when it comes to objective control.
Next.